three, three, brother, brother. Oh, hi there. I was just practicing the TH sound, the incidental fricative, and it's really difficult one, isn't it? And as a student of English, I remember struggling with it for a very long time. I also remember as a teacher trying to teach it to my students, who in turn were struggling with it quite a lot as well. But now an important question to ask ourselves is, does this sound actually matter when it comes to pronunciation for English as a lingua franca? Does it matter for clear pronunciation? Well, let me show you what the research has to tell us. If you're new here, my name is Marek Kiczkowiak and I run TEFL Equity Advocates and Academy, where I help English teachers tackle native speakerism and teach English for global communication. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that little bell button so you don't miss future videos, and consider giving this video a like as well. So let's get down to the issue of having clear pronunciation, because this really is what teaching pronunciation for English as a lingua franca is all about. And in my opinion, I might be biased, but in my opinion, teaching pronunciation should never be about changing someone's accent, making them sound British like they're from London, or making them sound like they're from New York. No, teaching pronunciation should be about helping your students be easy to understand in international context. Now, what does easy to understand in international context mean? What does teaching pronunciation for English as a lingua franca mean? I've got another video where I go into much more depth about it, and I posted the link right below here as well. But just to give you a very quick idea, researchers for the last 20 years have basically been analyzing conversations that people have in international multilingual contexts, and they've been able to identify the pronunciation features that are really important for having clear pronunciation and for being easy to understand. And one of these pronunciation features that researchers have looked at is the incidental fricative T that's spelled as a TH. And this can be a voiceless one, so th, like in three, for example, or it can be voiced, as in brother, for example. And it's called incidental because the tongue will be placed in between your teeth when you pronounce this sound. And as I mentioned, it is an incredibly difficult sound. This might be because it's very uncommon, actually, especially in European languages, the very few that will have that sound. One example is Spanish from Spain, where the th will also appear. But it is a difficult and uncommon sound. So a question we want to ask ourselves is it actually important for intelligibility? Is it important for clear pronunciation? It turns out that it isn't important at all. In other words, if you pronounce the incidental fricative differently, like some people will pronounce it as a f or as a t, for example, instead of th, this does not matter at all for having clear pronunciation. It will not affect your pronunciation negatively at all. You'll still be easy to understand. And I'm not saying it because I think it's true, but it's really based on the last 2 decades of research into pronunciation in international context. And I posted some blog posts and some articles that you might want to check out just to learn a little bit more about this issue. So what are the alternatives that your students could take instead of pronouncing the TH letters as an incidental fricative? For example, they could pronounce it as T and D. And in fact, if you still feel that native speakers are better models of pronunciation, if you still feel that your students should aspire to speak like native speakers, well, you'll be happy to find out that quite a lot of native speakers actually pronounce the letters TH as T and D. One example is Irish English users. In some accents in Ireland, they say tree and tree, both for the number and for the thing that grows in the wood, right? Another option for pronouncing the TH sound is as a F, so labiodental fricative, or V, right? And again, there are many native speakers who pronounce the letters TH in that way. In some accents, for example, in London, they don't say brother, but brother, right? And it's something that is very, very common for native speakers as well. Now, there is some evidence that pronouncing the TH as a S or as a Z sound might be a little bit confusing. Researchers suggest that perhaps T and D and F and V are the clearest alternatives for a TH sound. Now, what should you do with this information as an English teacher? Now, I'm not saying that you should never ever teach your students the incidental fricative. What I'm saying is that it should be very, 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 very low on your list of priorities when it comes to teaching pronunciation. Because if this sound is so difficult for learners to master, but on the other hand, it's completely irrelevant to having clear pronunciation, this would suggest to me as a teacher that there is little point in teaching it to our learners. In fact, I would go as far as tell my learners that it's okay to pronounce it as a T or D. If I have learners who pronounce it in other ways that are still clear, I will tell them completely not to worry about having to pronounce it as an incidental fricative. And I think this is really important as well for developing the confidence that your learners will have in using English. And it's really important also for knocking this idea right on the head that our learners need to speak like a particular native speaker voice. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the goal of pronunciation teaching, in my opinion, should always be clear pronunciation that's easy to understand in international context. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about teaching pronunciation for English as a lingua franca, about tackling native speakerism, then definitely check out my TEFL Equity Academy courses, and the link is right below this video.